All right, got a pair of Monday night games. Chicago at Minnesota is the first. The Vikings are 7-point favorites. The total 43.5. Going to roll a couple guys that put up goose eggs last week, but are out there for a ton of routes. For the Vikings, you got to go back to Jalen Naylor. He's still out there about 55-60% of the time, most every week now, and he is clear number 3 receiver. Their backups aren't getting much work. Even Josh Oliver last week didn't see his normal usage behind Hawkinson. So like Naylor here, again, just Addison's playing really well. You always got to worry about Jefferson. So Naylor has proven that he can beat coverage and get in the end zone. Has done it a bunch of times already this season. So like him on the Minnesota side. And then for the Bears, Cole Kmet, he was a goose egg. Always talk about, tight ends against the Niners. You don't really expect much. So I do expect him to bounce back this week. Bears just had a really rough outing against the Niners. I don't think they completely don't show up here against the Vikings now. So Cole Kmet, like him, was on the field pretty much every single snap. So even though he's goose egged, one of those guys that you want to buy low on in a much better matchup than he had last week. So Kmet, Naylor, final game, Falcons, Raiders in Vegas. Falcons 4.5-point favorites, total 43.5. We don't know who's going to start for Vegas. O'Connell looks like he escaped serious injury. They already named Ridder the starter, but then that was before they knew O'Connell was in an air cast, but just bruised his knee. So that's interesting. But regardless, who you like in this one, Sean?
Well, first of all, you highlighted Jalen Naylor, who has scored every time you brought him up. I like 4 or 5 times now, so he's an auto bet for me in the touchdown market. But yeah, for this game, the Falcons side, I'm gonna have to go with my guy here, Tyler Algier, who is very game script dependent. He kind of needs the Falcons to be in a leading game script to get really any work. There was a couple of games ago he had 0 rushes because they got blown out, but this is a game against the Raiders where who knows, maybe Kirk Cousins doesn't throw multiple interceptions and the Falcons play at the lead. Algier would thrive in that environment. Had a short touchdown run last week, so just assuming that this is a positive game script, I would go with Algier here. And again, you always talk about like when you set these showdown slate lineups to kind of like tell a story, so this would be a leading game script for this particular build. But I like Algier here for the Falcons. And on the Raiders side, got to go with Michael Mayer here, who I think benefited from DJ Turner being out. The Raiders use a lot more 2 tight end personnel. Finally, I thought they would do that a lot more this year, but Mayer had a nice 71% routes run rate. Maybe the new tight end 1 in Vegas, I don't know, because he outproduced Brock Bowers with a 7-catch 68-yard game. But in all seriousness, Michael Mayer is one of the best rookie tight ends of last year's class. That's why I was kind of pissed that the Raiders took a generational prospect in Brock Bowers. But I kind of like what they have for him in here. So I think Michael Mayer is going to keep this trend up with, again, with DJ Turner out. We might see a lot more 2 tight end sets with both these tight ends on the field. So I think Mayer's a bit sneaky, although people will see his big game from last week and kind of catch on. But the underlying usage suggests we could see both these guys out there a lot more going forward.
Yeah, because I mean, their number 3 receiver was Terrace Marshall, and they played like 20% of the snaps, 22 or something like that on pass plays. So yeah, they're leaning into that 2 tight end formations finally. So yeah, I like that.